We are live, Aaron.
Once again, Aaron Whitlow.
I'm Brandon Spivey, and welcome back to the Markout Movie Podcast.
And Brandon, we're kicking off spooky season.
Yes, sir.
Halloween, October, my favorite time of the year, to be honest. I'll be honest with you.
It's the best in the world.
Alrighty. Is this CM Punk? Is that what we're doing?
Oh, of course. I'm ready for Bad Blood, you know?
Yeah, that's this weekend, right?
That's this weekend, yeah.
But speaking of Bad Blood, today's episode, I guess I'll play the intro to Shut In Horror. I'm going to have to create one for Tubi. A Tubi opening, like horror opening maybe. But I'm going to play the Shut In Horror. Because horror section, yeah, I don't think it fits it. What do you think? Do you think it does?
I mean, it's a horror film.
It is a horror film.
Why wouldn't it fit it?
You're right. Here we go.
I love the video because there's it's not a lot. There's a few. Christmas Vacation made that. I was like, Christmas, that came out as we were coming back. I marked out for Christmas Vacation. But Rocky and Star Wars are horror films, man. I love
what I noticed in there? I sent you something on Facebook Messenger. I said I need to reshoot this because I noticed that it also has When Harry Met Sally, and there's a horror film.
Weekend at Bernie's made it too, yeah.
But all right, well, just for my own, so I can, I'm going to do Shudder and Horror too. So. I like it. All right. Anyway, Lowlifes is the movie that we are doing today, that we're reviewing. It is a Tubi original. And here is the brief synopsis. The survival instincts of a road-tripping family are put to the test when they have no other choice but to stay the night at a remote homestead.
That's false advertisement.
It is a false advertisement. So, I don't think there's anybody notable in here to say, hey, this movie has this person, other than the father and the mother of the family that is from the RV. Because
I knew the father from something. I couldn't tell you what I know him from, but I've seen him in other films.
He's in Monarch. Is a Monarch show. It says he's He's in the Turner and Hooch remake, which I've never seen that.
And the father at the homestead I know from something too, but everybody else was fresh for me. Like I've never seen them before.
The mother I knew from Ready or Not.
Is she in that?
Yeah, she's in Ready or Not. She was one of the socialites
Yeah,
from the family.
I just
She's in Orphan Black. I've never seen that, and
haven't seen that either.
some other stuff. But I know her from. I think I know her from Ready or Not. But yeah, this movie. It starts off in a way that sets it up as if like it'd be another typical sur- suburban family meets hillbilly family.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and it turns it on its head pretty quickly.
Oh, it does. It does. It does.
Brandon, your thoughts?
Oh, my thoughts. Once we
Spoilers for this, guys. Brandon spoils everything, and this is okay because we're gonna be spoiling this movie.
Wow, I wasn't going. Well, you kind of, if you discuss the movie in depth, you have to spoil it. I mean, because there's a certain thing that happens in this movie that flips the script on these types of movies, even home invasion films. Because this is a
Yeah,
home invasion film in its own right. But
very very
what?
much like what's the one with the girl and her father was a survivalist, so taught her
You're next.
your
Done with
next,
that
yeah.
one. Done with that
Yeah,
one.
yeah. It gave me vibes of your next almost a little bit.
A little bit with one of the girls that lives out in the boondocks. You could tell definitely she wasn't like the others in this movie. But as far as how it sets it up with a kill. You don't know who's doing the killing, of course. I was like, okay, this is gonna be your run of the mill home invasion type movie. But we meet the family in the RV, and they seem normal enough, right? They do.
A blue collar family,
Yeah, they
father.
seem. There's
Yeah,
a little friction between the daughter and the father, the daughter and the father. Not sure what's going on there. Find out later in the movie what's really happening with her. Then they run into these. I don't want to say hillbillies, but they basically are hillbillies. They live out in the boondocks. Their truck breaks down. They're looking for somebody though, Maynard, and we're like, who's this? But if you pay close attention, he's the guy in the opening scene that's getting killed.
hmm
Um, and it's just they say they haven't seen him, haven't seen anybody, and they talk them into letting Billy ride in the RV with them to take them to go get their father.
yeah,
And that's when it really gets interesting because that's when we get our next kill.
yeah.
And
We're gonna go ahead and get into spoilers now. Like, we would recommend you watch the movie if you don't want to be spoiled. It's on Tubi. Watch it. But we're gonna get into spoilers. I want to say something real quick, Brandon, before we move on. When they were
Mhm.
at the RV and they was about to have a picnic,
Yeah,
the family, it didn't dawn on me, and I thought about it later on because the son comes up to the father and says, "Dad, the meat is still pink," and then he says, "You never want to overcook a good cut of meat, son," or something like that. You never want to disrespect a good cut of meat, or something like that. Uh, like, and you don't think nothing about it. You think, oh,
no,
steak, whatever. But then you find out later on, not so much.
not so much, not so much. Yeah, I didn't pick up on it either. I didn't pick up on this family was truly the villains of the movie.
The cannibals, essentially.
Cannibals, yes, definitely. They
The
go. It's like
serial killer family.
yeah, it's like they go on these vacations to kill random people and eat them, and that's a family tradition, I guess you could have. But I was so floored by it when we get to it. When that moment happens and the son ends up killing Billy, and then they're cutting him up and they're gonna eat him. I'm like, my jaw dropped because I didn't see this coming at all.
Yeah,
I really didn't. Like this was a surprise. I'm like, well, Tubi got me.
Yeah,
Like
I was,
I'm not
I was
impressed by
wondering
their
if,
movies that I've seen personally. This one I was. I think this has got to be their best. I mean,
yeah, I was wondering your thoughts on that as far as like the the scene where like Billy is talking to the son Jeffrey, I
yeah,
think is
yeah, same shit.
talking to the son, and he is like, and they're playing a game, pronouns or something like that, or something like that, and you know Billy grabs the pad and is like, hey, Menard, you write your name, you write like Menard, you know, whatever the guy's name is, you write like him. You know, hey, was he here? Have you seen him? You know, like at the same time, Billy Jeffrey stands up and like stabs him, and then the family kind of like, and the way that the camera goes to the canted angle,
Hmm.
in an upward angle, like it shows like the insanity of the family, like, oh, there, you know, he's a big boy, he can handle it. You know, the mom is like, don't pull those pencils out, you're gonna get blood everywhere. You know, like it's just like there's not so nonchalant about this, and I wondered if your jaw dropped. It's like you're like, oh,
Yeah, it did. That was, but I did pick up on something that with the son, he was very bloodthirsty. Like
mm,
he couldn't. He was addicted to it. Like I picked up on that really early on. Like I was like, man, he's got an issue. He's a serial killer in the making. And the father approves of this. The mother not so much. It's like she didn't really want to continue to do this anymore. Like at least not for her son, because you know I felt she saw what was happening to him and how he's becoming more bloodthirsty. But yeah, that comes into play later on when they get to the homestead. But yeah, my jaw dropped. I was floored by this revelation.
yeah. The whole scene, the scene where they are then essentially preparing the body, like you
Yeah,
know, like cutting it up or whatever for parts for food or whatever, putting it short. Uh, it 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 was like it was so insane. Like he's waving the hand around, the you know stuff like that. Like you know
yeah.
here, it's like it's so bonkers, and you're like immediately I was like, what did I stumble into? What is this?
Yeah. You basically, this is, and maybe it's not fair to say, you know, but I'm going to compare it to Texas Chainsaw Massacre audience because I wasn't expecting this. I don't think you were either. I think it's same people that went and seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre probably didn't know what they were walking into in that
Mm.
moment, 1974. Um, Seeing that cannibalistic family, you know, kidnap people and kill them and feed them essentially to each other. It's it, it's definitely a callback to that movie, especially when he's trying to feed one of the girls. That's what I thought of. I thought Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This is paying homage to that. Um, but yeah, it made my jaw drop though. I mean, like I was really surprised. I was like, "Good job, really
Yeah,
good
I
job here." I mean, because I don't get surprised by horror films anymore.
mm,
But this one did. This one literally floored me
yeah.
with that twist.
One thing that you mentioned is like being like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's kind of like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but but on its head. You know, as far as like
Yeah,
it's instead of it's the family, the country family, the homestead family, which are the maniacs or killers or whatever. It's the family that comes and spends the night with that family that you got to worry about.
yeah,
And I did think at one point I was like, oh, maybe it is going to be like killers versus killers. Like, what if they kind of walked in a situation where they just underestimated that the family that's staying with is just as bad as they are? You know, I was wondering that, but then like when I started seeing the first couple of kills that happened, I'm like, no, it is that this family is that bad. You know,
yeah. Well, I understand why you thought that because when we meet a cop, I
Oh,
can't remember his name. I remember Billy, but I don't remember the other guy's name.
but
You
you
know,
recognize the cop, right?
no, I did not. I didn't.
So he was he's you know him from Supernatural. He was Jack on Supernatural.
Really?
Yeah,
Jack's aged.
yeah, that's it.
Wow, I guess it's the mustache threw me off because he's clean shaven and supernatural.
He's
But he
so
does
baby.
look like he's a
He's so
lot
baby.
older though.
Yeah,
No, he's not baby facing this at
yeah.
all. I didn't recognize him. No, but I did like him in this. I liked the interaction with him and the other hillbilly. Because you think that this family's got some issues with the law. Maybe they got away with murder or something. The way that interaction went down, you know.
Oh, that makes so much sense for the ending when we get there. That makes so
Yeah,
much
yeah.
sense.
I saw the ending coming though. They didn't get me there. I saw that's how it was going to play out, you know. But
Yeah, I saw it at one moment. And I'm like, oh, so this is what's gonna happen. Okay,
yeah,
but yeah, but yeah. So, you know, another thing that I really liked about this movie, the revelation of Big Mac. Whenever Mac pops up,
oh
because
yeah,
they're at the house and they're like, I think the family seems like they're ready to kill the other family. They're just like grabbing the knives, grabbing, you know, there's like really quick cut of them like grabbing
yeah,
their knives or grabbing guns or whatever, you know, just getting ready. And then you hear boom, boom,
yeah,
kind of like Jurassic Park, and they're like, or who are you the only ones in the house? And they're like, oh yes, except for my fiance, Big Mac. You know, and
yeah,
then like you just hear him boom, boom coming as that just heavy feet. And then like when he comes in, he lays that sledgehammer down like Triple H, you know, and you're like, okay. And I'm like, and I was wondering, I was like I thought there's a scene. I thought that like that it was gonna get turned on his head again whenever because they told the son Jeffrey, the father said, don't go after the big guy.
yeah,
Leave him to me. And the son would he just wants to prove himself. He said, I can take down the biggest and baddest, you know.
yeah.
And so they poisoned Jeffrey and they poisoned Big Mac and the other girl with like a candy bar. Um, and then he went and fight Big Mac, but Big Mac almost got him until Big Mac, you know, kind of gave out, and he ended up killing him.
Yeah.
But I thought at that moment Big Mac was going to kill Jeffrey. I thought it was going to
Oh
be
yeah,
like,
definitely. But
yeah.
getting back to when he's introduced, I don't know if you got this, but I felt they were going for like a Leatherface popping
Mhm.
up kind of moment. But for
Yep.
me, it was more of a House of a Thousand Corpses when the big dude, the tall dude, came into view. I
Mm.
got more of that,
Mhm.
but this is like a guy you don't mess with type energy. Unfortunately for Big Mac, he wasn't like those two characters. He was just a really sweet, big teddy bear kind of a guy. But he could fight. He could. But, you know, he just didn't have that killer instinct, you know, like Jeffrey does. Which
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
like, in a way, it was like, you know, very much like the Bible, David and Goliath, kind of a fight. And, you know, just like the Bible, David won. Uh, but you
With
flip it.
that
You
being
flip the script here, though.
with that being said too, bro. If you think about how Big Mac he that moment where he knocks out Jeffrey, knocks him down, and he
Yeah.
thinks he killed him, and he's like, "Oh no, oh I'm so sorry. Are
Yeah.
you okay?" And like he's so apologetic, even though this guy just tried to kill you. He's
Yes.
like, "I'm so sorry. Are you okay?" And that kind of shows you how that family is. The only family member that was very cautious was the
The
one
girl.
the one girl. I don't know. I can't tell them apart. Maybe Savannah is her name. Maybe. Um, I don't know. I think she's the the one that can be good with bow and arrow and play the piano. Um, but yeah, she's the only one that was like had that killer instinct for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
but yeah, um, yeah, man, I thought that it was interesting. It's like it takes the horror movie genre of the home invasion, uh, the the cabin in the woods, the like you said, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre type of vibe of film
Yeah.
or genre, and turn it on its head and make it and it's a different type of survival movie. You're rooting for the like you're rooting for the family to survive, but also you kind of rooting for them to perish. I don't know. I was in that weird place where I kind of like.
Well,
There's only one mainly I rooted for. And I think it's Savannah. It's her name. But
I mean, I understand that because you don't know if this family's good or bad. The way
mhm,
they play it out, and I mean, the only person I really wanted to die in this movie was Jeffrey. I
mhm,
mean, he just, if there's anyone that deserved to die, it was him. I mean, he was so bloodthirsty. He just wanted to kill, 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 kill. And, but I will say this, once we get to that girl with her bow and arrow and she kills the mother, I mean,
mhm.
that was a shocking moment. I wasn't expecting her to die. I was not in that moment.
Yeah,
Um, but I thought that was shocking, and I was some good effects too. I mean, if
yeah. Very practical. It seemed like very practical effects, but I'm not sure. I want to say the scene stealer in this whole movie has to be the father, the
oh
killer, the killer father. He
yeah,
ate he ate every scene he was in. He really
he was
he
good.
brought energy. He brought craziness. Like he was believable as someone that was like he loves killing. He just loves it. He loves doing
Yeah,
it.
he gave me Ted Bundy vibes,
Mm.
while the son gave me Jeffrey Dahmer vibes.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the daughter would have been what was her name that killed
Uh,
the she
Eileen Wuornos, mate.
yeah
Eileen Wuornos,
yeah.
the monster. Yeah.
But yeah, that's I actually felt like this was every single one was a serial killer except for the mother.
Oh, that makes so much sense. The way that you mentioned that makes so much sense. Like the father definitely gave off a Ted Bundy vibe.
He did.
And
He
then like
did.
son is awkward, but he's Dahmer, very maybe John Wayne Gacy. Like that. The daughter Eileen Wuornos for sure. Maybe some other female serial killers, and the mom was maybe uh, a reluctant serial killer. One of those like
Yeah.
go along with the Bonnie and Clyde type thing. You go along with the guy, but you don't really want to do it, but you're in love with the guy, and just, um, yeah, that's some good insight there, Brandon. With that, yeah,
I mean,
I can,
that's just what I saw and felt when I was watching it. Except they messed with the wrong girl. You know, and to your point, she is very much like the final girl, and You're Next. You don't see
mm,
it coming, but you kind of do when she's first
yeah,
introduced. You notice something is not. She's not like the rest of her family.
yeah,
Something is different there, and I was like, I actually thought I agreed with you. Like, I thought this family was going to be another, um, not cannibalistic family, but another serial killer type family,
yeah,
and that's an awesome concept.
hmm
I would love to see that one day because I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. But it didn't happen here, unfortunately. But that doesn't take away from the movie. It was really good, and man, I think my score is going to be a little higher than I gave
yeah.
Letterboxd. But
What was your thoughts on the? I'm gonna find him. The other cousin, not Billy.
the one with the shotgun,
Yeah, yeah, the one. Yeah,
yeah,
the one who was like on the road and he had the chocolate and he had stomach problems as well, and he was waiting to get back home. He comes in kind of to be ex machina at one point
Yeah.
where he comes in and is trying to take out the father, but then I knew the moment that the father got that knife or gun or I think it's a knife or something, and he stabs him in the head and kills him.
Yeah.
Um, I knew that at that moment that he was gonna die. When I seen the knife and I see him reaching for it, I'm like, oh, he's about to die for sure. And then,
He
but
get.
then like,
Go ahead.
huh?
Go
No, I was
ahead.
gonna say, but yeah, no, I thought he was gonna die for sure. But like they brought him in. He reminds me of the guy from Friday the 13th part. I want to make sure I get it right because historically I always get them wrong. I want to say three. Was it the black guy? Was it the biker? The
The
biker guy?
biker. The biker.
Yeah, yeah. That survives long enough just to die really at the end. He comes in to try to be like a hero, and but ended up dying.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, and so that's what they got to remind me of. Somebody that survived long enough to just come at the end, do one last hero moment, and but still
I mean,
bite it.
that's good insight. It's not what I saw, but you are correct. That's what he did. I got more. You asked me how I felt about him. What I see. With him, I saw the creepy redneck type character, the hitchhiker, essentially from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. At first,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
that's what I got out of him. His energy. It was just I'm creepy. I want to harm your daughter type energy.
They hills have eyes too, like with that
Yeah,
too,
the
right?
hills have eyes. I thought the hills have eyes. I thought a wrong turn watching this movie. I
Down to the
thought of
left,
a
all those. Thought of all
yeah,
those. Yeah.
but when he comes in, he actually I don't know if you've seen this movie Feast. Have you seen
Yes,
Feast?
I love it. Yeah.
He reminds me of the guy that came in with the shotgun in Feast that was in total control of everything until he wasn't.
Yeah, very beginning, right? Like he was
Yeah,
just, I'm the guy that's here to save y'all, and then like he died
yeah.
immediately.
That's
Yeah,
who he
I love
reminded
it.
me
He
of
did
in
great.
that moment. Like I
Mm.
got those vibes from him. But no, I mean, I thought he did his job well. I thought for what he was on screen for. I felt he came off really creepy in the beginning, which I think was his job to do, and I think he came off like I'm the hero of this situation until I'm not. And I think he did a great job with it. I thought everybody did a good job, though. I just didn't like Jeffrey.
Yeah, I just
But
noticed I didn't play the trailer. I was gonna play a little bit of it.
Evening's entertainment.
Tell me, where y'all from?
We live in Calabasas.
Well, we ain't had genuine visitors here in years.
Maybe we could just use your telephone?
We got gas, honey.
yeah,
Yeah, see the way it sets up, it looks like the family. It's like it looks like the family is gonna be the ones that's gonna murder. Like the typical. Yeah, you're stuck and everybody. But I love that. I love the insight that the only thing that would have made it better was if they had have made the Homestead family also killers,
yeah.
and I,
Yeah.
and I would have been okay with that.
I would have loved
But,
that. I would have loved
but
that.
but either way, I think it was okay. But I just want like they set up something earlier, and I want to get your thoughts on it. So they set up something earlier. The mother was the first one of the family to die. She got caught with an arrow in the throat. The brother, the son, Jeffrey, he got his neck snapped. Um,
Yeah,
by the sister, the older sister, I guess. And then when it comes to the father, so there's a scene early in the movie where the father, where the daughter, one of the daughters was going to give him a haircut and just take a little bit off the top, and that comes back to play with the axe later on, where like after he just kills her cousin, I guess, and he's like sitting there and he's just kind of breathing with his one eye because at this point he's lost one eye.
We gotta get to that eye. We gotta talk about that eye.
Go ahead.
Oh, when she stabs him with that fork, I believe it was fork in the eye, and he pulls it out, and then he bites it and eats it. I'm like, man, this guy. That scene actually reminded me of the scene in The Hills Have Eyes when the guy's eating the bird, and I was like, wow, this guy's charismatic. He's creepy. He's great. He's great for this genre. And I was a little upset. I was a little disappointed they killed him off when they did. But he, as you said, he stole the movie. Every scene he's in, he shines, and he does. And that's why I wish they wouldn't have killed him. I wish he would have survived it instead of who does.
Oh, I just thought about this, man. The energy he was given in this movie. Let's see if you agree with me. I believe he was giving Matthew McConaughey Texas Chainsaw Massacre Next Generation energy, like the father, I
can see that.
Very, he's out of everyone on the set, it looks like the father, the guy playing the father, was having the best time of his life in this part. He was into that. But yeah.
And it's funny because when he first comes on the screen, I think, oh, he's going to be so boring.
Like Ned Flanders type of stuff, right?
Yeah, and I was like, wow, he flipped the script. And I love that. I love that he flipped it. He wasn't boring. He was very entertaining. The daughter to me was, the boring one because
killer daughter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because really, all she really has going for her character is that she's secretly a lesbian, hiding it from her father, which comes into play at the very end of the movie. And she's got I don't want to say a drug addiction, but she smokes pot, which the father's very against. So the father has some morals to him, man.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, he said that line where, because the one girl was like, well, and we had sex. And then he just, no, you couldn't. She's a girl. You're a woman.
Yeah, no, it was just the way he delivered it. It was just hilarious.
Yeah, but so matter of factly, no, there's no way you could have, But
no daughter of mine.
Yeah,
is a lesbian. That's the energy he gave off. I'm this delusional. No way. And
the daughter, out of all the family members, on the poster, you have the daughter on the poster. But she isn't really the standout one. The dad is truly the standout one.
Yeah.
But going to his death scene, what was your thoughts on? Cause he's breathing, then like he says, a little off the top, right? And then he's like, oh, and he, and in the head with that. And I think they showed it. I don't think it's a cutaway either. I think they showed the impact.
Yeah.
But
it was a good kill. It was just unfortunate it was him and not the teenage daughter. Which I know that's sad to say, but it was just so entertaining. If anyone from this family was going to live, you want it to be him.
Yeah,
because he was just the more entertaining one. But
I could have seen too. With that being said, Brandon, I could have seen it going into had he lived, had he been the only one that lived. I could have seen it going into stepfather type of territory, where maybe he goes to try to find another family to start the whole thing again. I would have preferred him to survive because he was literally my favorite one out of all of them. He was the one that brought the energy and was somebody. I was the actor Matthew McCall. I want him to do more horror because he was excellent in this movie, and I could see him as a villain in other stuff, a straight villain. So
yeah, he was great. But once he gets killed, it comes it's the final girls are fighting each other. It's a good fight, but I was like, that cop's gonna show up. He's gonna kill the girl from the homestead.
Yeah, they turned it up already where he's like, I think I'm gonna go out there and check, make sure everything's okay. But yeah, and so she's ready to get off of and off of the kill shot, like essentially like with the sledgehammer. She told her to run. And I was like, that's when you're gonna die right there because she told her to run. And
Yeah.
so when she gets outside and she's going to lift the sledgehammer and then like he like headshots her and takes her out, I was like, this is a twist on the final girl. It like twists at the very end to make the villain the final girl,
Yeah.
and that's pretty ingenious too if you think about it.
Yeah. But I mean, if you're paying attention, I think you would see it coming.
Yeah.
How it's going to play out. My only issue with the ending, though, after the cop shows up and he shoots the girl in the head, was that the girl still isn't finished. She's getting away with this, but that's not enough. And I didn't understand it because she didn't act like she really wanted to do it to begin with. All this killing, she it felt like played out. Like I'm bored of this. I'm tired of this. But instead, she goes in for the kill with the cop, and she kills the cop, and it just gave me a Maxine kind of. I haven't seen the movie, but that character in X kind of ending where she just drives off. It kind of gave me that kind of a feeling. Like I'm not saying they're setting it up for a sequel with her character, but I could see it. Where does she go from here?
Yeah, I noticed at the end of it, like, because she kills the cop. You don't see him kill. You don't see her kill the cop. You see, she turns around and you see a freeze frame, like like Friday 13th type of stuff. But then like there's another cutaway scene where the house is on fire, and she looks over at it and she says, "Ain't that something?" But isn't it like she says in like a country accent? Ain't that something? And I kind of took from that she is developing a new character, a personality, and she's gonna be kind of blending into that whole folksy downtown type of vibe.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think there could be a possible sequel to this with this character. I don't. I mean,
I wouldn't really want
it could be really good. It could be really bad. It just depends how. If the same people are working on it though, that was behind this movie, I would want to see it. But if it's somebody new, I wouldn't. But I mean, I was just floored with how good this actually was. Like, and not just good, but how it surprised me. I didn't see this coming. When you picked it, I was like, he's picking a Tubi original. Oh man, this is gonna be bad. But I actually, after you picked it, I seen some reviews on it on Letterboxd, and everyone was like kind of praising it. So I was like, well, maybe Aaron knows something I don't here. It was a great pick though. It really was.
It's a movie that it shows. I think hopefully this is the movie that puts Tubi original horror on the map. Maybe they can then say, okay, well, we can do a good original horror movie and do it because they've done. I think didn't Tubi have the Weird Al movie? Was that Tubi or was that Freebie?
I'm not sure. I know they got the Terror Train remake and sequel on there. I haven't seen it, but I do know that they did because they've done a couple shark films, but nothing I've seen from Tubi originals has been anything like this.
Where else Roku? But yeah, no, you're right. I watched one the other night, like last night was it? Me and Jackie watched one. I forget the name of it. If it tells you anything, it's about like a girl whose husband dies and his family comes to help her while she's going through grief. But it's stupid. It's dumb.
It's dumb.
It's the dumbest thing.
It's a waste of time.
I watched it. Yes, and I'm like, okay. But this movie is great. I'm ready to go ahead and give my marks.
Okay. I'll go first.
All right.
I mean, unless you want to go first.
No,
Up
go
to
for
you.
it, buddy.
Okay. I'm gonna go higher than I did on Letterboxd. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5 on the markout meter. I only gave it a 3, but now I think about it and we're talking about it. I was like, man, this was actually really good, and it deserves all the accolades it's gonna get, and it deserves the praise. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. It was a really good horror film that debuted on Tubi that had a twist that shocked me. And it was just it's been one of the better horror films of the year, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to make my best films of the year list. Honestly, I think it's going to sneak in.
All right, I'm going to give it a 4 as well. My letterbox, I haven't done one yet, but it was going to be a 3.5, I think, because of it's very campy. It has a campy vibe to it, which is fine. It's not a turnoff at all. But it could very easily become an ABF. You know, it could very easily go into atrociously bad, but it doesn't. It actually stays consistent as a pretty solid, fun, dark comedy horror movie. I would consider it those labels because that's the father is the MVP of the movie. He brings energy throughout the whole thing, and just I was gonna say this. What I would love to see if they didn't do a sequel, I would love to see a prequel with the family, and maybe it's the first kill or the first getting into doing it. You know, kind of show them kind of getting used to it, learning what they're gonna do, developing the things. Because like had they not, and this is only my own criticism, my only criticism of the movie is they introduced a cool new horror villain in this family, and they kill them all essentially, except for the daughter. And I don't think she has enough to warrant continuing the story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I feel the same way.
Somebody that's just as insane as she is, and she's starting the family again. But
yeah, I actually could see them doing like a trilogy of prequels. You know, with the father and the mother. Maybe when they first meet, you know, they go on a killing spree. Then they have kids, and they teach the kids how to do it. You know, it's a family tradition. It's weird, but but I would be more curious. When did the cannibalism start for them? I mean, well, you know,
I bet you what it is I bet you the father must have maybe bit someone or bit something off in one of his kills, and he liked the way it tastes. And he's like, oh, it's not bad, you know. Did you ever watch the movie Fresh?
Yeah.
Yeah, we reviewed it, didn't we?
I don't remember if we reviewed. We may have.
But it reminds me of Fresh in the sense of he gets into cannibalism in that movie. He gets into doing that, but I think it'd be interesting to see the family becoming, and that could be more dark comedy because they're gonna mess up, they're gonna not do right, they're developing their techniques a little bit more each kill, or maybe I would love to see an origin story of just the father. I would love the same guy to be in it though, because maybe he learned it from his father or something. Like it's a family tradition that goes back years. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
but I think that they shot themselves in the foot. I think movies that introduce great characters, and we've talked about some of them on this podcast, that have introduced great characters, but then they kill those characters off, and you're like, it defeats the purpose of introducing the character, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. If I could compare it to anything, I could, with his family getting killed off, except for the daughter, I would compare it to The Strangers Pray at Night, I think it was called. how they essentially killed the strangers. Like, why would you do that? You're trying to build a franchise. Now they've had to reboot it, and which I have not seen the reboot or whatever prequel, whatever it is.
I've never.
But why would you do that? Why would you kill these characters off that have a following? You know, it doesn't make logical sense, and it doesn't make business sense at all. So, but of course, they probably didn't think this movie was going to be anything spectacular with the audience. So they thought it's a Tubi original. People aren't going to really watch it. But it's got a lot. It's got a lot of praise, and its word of mouth is strong, and like it's worth watching. And you know,
Yeah, I was gonna look up. Oh shoot, hold up. I was gonna look up the on IMDb is 6.2. I was wanting to see what they're saying on the. I can't pull it up. I was gonna see what they're saying on on Rotten Tomatoes, but I think that it's from a 2024 film perspective with the horror movies that we've had this year.
yeah,
It's gotta be one of the better ones. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that we've had outstandingly great horror films. The best ones that I've seen so far. I enjoyed of a Violent Nature, but and I think what else came out?
man, I'm not even sure. Like I haven't enjoyed too many horror films this year, so I haven't seen The Violent Nature. Trying to think. I like Alien Romulus was my favorite.
Alien Romulus. It's
my favorite film of the year. So I mean,
yeah, that's probably the best horror film that came out this year for sure.
Long Legs I thought was good, but I wouldn't really consider that horror. It's kind of
it's Silence of the Lambs. That's what it put me in the mind of. Long Legs put me in the mind of Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, it felt like it was from that universe. Like Nick Cage and Hannibal Lecter should have dinner sometime. You know.
Let's see. Horror movie 2024. All right.
I didn't see Abigail either. I haven't seen.
I've seen Abigail. Let's see. There's some that just came out, like Apartment 7A. I haven't watched that yet. The Front Room. That's with Brandy. Imaginary. That was terrible. Sting. I don't think I've seen Sting. Tarot was terrible. Deliverance wasn't bad. The Exorcist. Wasn't there one that came out with Russell Crowe? Huh?
Oh, you're talking about that. I forgot what that was called. Yeah, I hadn't seen it.
The Exorcist.
Yeah, he's playing another. He's an actor playing in an exorcism movie.
The Exorcism. That had great moments. It falls short towards the end. Watchers wasn't that great. Maxine was pretty good. The First Omen, I couldn't finish it. Immaculate was a decent little horror film. I haven't seen Strangers Chapter 2, Beetlejuice. I don't consider that horror. Neither do I Crow or maybe Quiet Place Day 1, but I don't really consider that. I mean, it's horror, but I don't. The Night Swim is pretty trash. You know, like there hasn't been many. Under Paris. That's one that came out this year.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a fun shark movie, but I don't view shark movies as horror films. I I just can't do it. But
Trap. Have you seen that?
yeah,
It's horror, but that was more suspense for me than horror.
that was just for me. That was just Josh Hartnett having the ball.
Yeah.
But like I felt that M. Night Shyamalan did a disservice. Like I don't like him. I just don't like him as a filmmaker. It is what it is. But in spite of all that, Josh Hartnett just stole that movie, man. He delivered probably his best performance in any film I've ever seen him in. Like I want a sequel to that just based on his performance. He was so great.
There's a movie, Lisa Frankenstein, which you didn't like.
I couldn't get into it.
It was.
I wanted to like it because I like Freaky.
Yeah,
he was Freaky, so
yeah. Well, it was very.
My Boyfriend's Dead, Back, whatever that movie was called from the 90s. It gave me the vibes of that.
That they do from Sweet Life of Zack and Cody is in it. But another movie that's out that I haven't watched called Meth Gator. It's on Tubi.
Never heard of it.
I guess the alligator on meth. It might be a good pick. I'm just saying. It's on Tubi.
Sounds horrible.
Meth Gator. It sounds like a great time, Brandon.
Sounds like a rip-off of Cocaine Bear, but you know.
It does sound like it is probably a rip-off of Cocaine Bear, but with an alligator on meth. I would be scared. But anyway, what are we picking next week, Brandon? What do you got?
I don't know the name of it.
I got the name of it. It's called
Dracula on a Boat.
I love the Brandon calls it Dracula on the Boat. It's called the last voyage of the Dementors.
Okay.
But yeah, it is essentially Dracula on the Boat.
Yeah.
Is what Brandon is titling this next episode. I love that. I love that.
The trailer reminded me of Jason Takes Manhattan when he was on the boat, though. So I don't know if it's going to be anything like that. God, I hope not. Although I don't hate that movie. It was fun, but, you know, I used to love it as a kid, but not so much anymore. But anyway, I was just curious to watch that movie when it came out. I didn't get to see it, and I bought it a few weeks back. I was like, I'm going to watch this for my Halloween-a-thon. Maybe I'll pick it. Aaron sounded like he didn't hate it, so maybe it'll be decent. Maybe it'll be a fun movie.
Aaron didn't finish it, so it'd be interesting to finish it and go back. It's not that I didn't like it. It's just that it was important to continue to watch it at the time.
That doesn't sound good at all.
It might be great. So yeah, we'll watch it. That's fine.
But it's got Corey Hawkins in it. You know him from Walking Dead, Straight Outta Compton, 24 Legacy. I mean, I like the dude.
He has the guy in it from I know him from Game of Thrones. He was the guy that was Jon Snow's right hand man. I forget his name. He's in that show. There's another. All right, I'm just trying to see what other horror movies is out. Like, there's some things that came out that I like to see. But all right, Brandon, what do we want the people to do?
If you like this episode and you want to see more, hit that like, subscribe, comment on the Markout Movie Podcast. You can find us on YouTube and you can find us on Facebook.
You find us anywhere that you want to find us, somewhere.
Not me. I don't like too many apps. I mean, I'm on a couple, but I don't get on much anymore. Like
in the meantime, sorry.
No, I don't have Ets at all, so I just.
I love how you explain it. How you're not into social media.
I just, if it was up to me, I would just leave social media altogether.
But in the meantime, and in between time, Aaron Whitlow.
I'm Brandon Spivey.
Thank you for marking out with us here on the Markout Movie Podcast.